So we're going to talk about the best hack I've learned for unlocking your natural charisma in social situations. Not putting on some fake personality, not performing or trying to impress other people. Unlocking the charisma which naturally exists within you, like it's still you, but your most charismatic self. I get that probably sounds a little bit gimmicky, but the very simple secret that most people don't know about is charisma comes from having more fun in conversations. So for the longest time, I could only describe my conversations as having like a life or death feeling to them. They felt very serious. And that's because I was very afraid to make a mistake. Like, I'd get really nervous talking to people, like especially people who I saw as like better than me. I know they're not literally better, but like authority figures or people who I deem to have a higher social status than me, or girls. It'd be the same thing with all of them. I'd feel very tense and uncomfortable. I have to think a lot harder about what to say. Sometimes it feels like I'm forcing things. And then when I force things and I say something a bit weird or I make a joke that doesn't land and I make it awkward, replay that moment back in my head. Sometimes for days, like I still have things from school that I think about, honestly, like fucking awkward moments and shit. And then I carry that into the future, into new conversations, and I'm worried about like making it awkward. I think, oh fuck, like I'm gonna say something awkward, I'm gonna make a mistake here. The whole thing ends up feeling very serious. And I never really understood that, like, that feeling of seriousness, like this is all about to go wrong at any moment. You could probably guess that doesn't help, but that's literally the root to why like conversations can feel so hard at times and why I feel so awkward. It's because in those environments, around those people that you don't feel safe, that you don't feel comfortable around, it's literally impossible for your brain to access its natural charisma. Because I believe we all have natural charisma. Like, the way I would describe it is when conversation just feels effortless. We don't have to think hard about what to say. The words just flow out of our mouth without thinking. We're not worried. Are we going to say something dumb here? We feel like in touch with our sense of humor. Everything we say just feels really funny. We feel smooth and just like at ease with ourselves. And despite what you're probably thinking hearing this, there will have been times in your life, probably very recently, that you felt like this. Because for me, I always feel like this around my best friends who I trust. Bro, when I'm with my friends, I'm like, it feels like, I would describe it as like a heightened version of my personality, but I'd actually look at it as like, this is who I really am. Like, this is my true personality. People who meet me for the first time, they can think I'm quiet and a bit introverted. When I'm with my friends and I'm completely at ease, I'm loud. Like you can't shut me up. Like, I'm having so much fun. I'm making jokes. I'm being like really unfiltered. You know how you make jokes with your friends that you don't make around other people? And everything you say just feels like the funniest thing. Like you have that shared sense of humor. You can really like open up around them. That's your most charismatic self. And that's because charisma, people don't realize this, charisma comes from feeling safe in your environment. It comes from feeling like you can trust the people around you, like they're not gonna judge you or reject you. Because in the past, our nervous system learned that there's certain social situations where I can't feel safe. Like I have this thing around like authority figures. Like I have this at work now too. I start getting nervous because of experiences in the past where it's gonna sound silly, but some fucking teacher yelled at me. And now I just have like a deep rooted fear of like authority figures. Like some teacher yelled at me in front of the class or humiliated me in front of everyone. Everyone laughed at me. Your nervous system stores these painful emotions and it carries them forward. So now my brain learned that around authority figures, you can't relax. And that's hurt me. That's hurt me in the present day because my body still believes it's in danger. And I tense up and I don't feel safe. And this is really important. When you don't feel safe around people, when you feel like there's a risk of like something bad happening to you, like rejection, embarrassment, your brain is in survival mode. That fight or flight response has been activated. And you can't act I don't know how much of your brain, but like, let's say like 2/3 of your brain is literally shut off in that situation. Like everything that's not to do with like your immediate survival, keeping you safe, keeping you alive, your brain just turns it off. And that includes your brain's natural creativity centers. The part of your brain that literally like thinks up what to say next, that in any normal situation would produce that like dialogue. You don't think about what you say like around your friends. It just comes naturally. When your brain is in survival mode, the reason your brain freezes in certain social situations is because that part of your brain responsible for like creativity and thought and humor shuts down because it's only focused on your survival. So hopefully you know where I'm going with this. It's impossible for us to be charismatic in social situations. Like charisma for me is just the feeling of conversation coming effortlessly, feeling comfortable, not being worried about like what you're gonna say next, not even thinking about it because you're so present and relaxed. You can't access that when you don't feel safe. So how do we feel safe in these situations, like especially around those people that make us nervous? Because I had this question for years, like why do I have such inconsistent confidence? Why am I confident and charismatic in certain situations, but around these people that I'm nervous around, I get really introverted, like really shy and like self-critical? So something you can do right now, this is just an amazing perspective shift, is instead of treating every conversation as life or death, like I can't make a mistake, it's going to sound like easier said than done. Just try to have a little bit more fun in your conversations. Try to make this experience more enjoyable for you. What so many people do in this mode where they feel like nervous around other people, subconsciously, you're trying to win them over. You're trying to impress them because deep down you don't want to be rejected. What's the opposite of being rejected? It's acceptance. It's winning the group over. Deep down, you're fearing rejection. If you start doing all this extra shit, like this is what I would do. I'd be forcing stuff, trying to make them like me, just coming across as needy, trying to impress other people. The person who I should be trying to impress is myself. I have this mindset where like in conversations, because for me, the point of conversations is have the most fun possible. Like if I'm not enjoying it, what's the point in being there? Instead of trying to make other people laugh, I act like an absolute fool sometimes, but the reason I do it is because I'm trying to make myself laugh. Man, sometimes I just get dumb little thoughts that come into my head and I just say them out loud. Like I'm trying to think of something like, bro, I was at this like, this is going to sound so dumb, but it's just what come into my head. I was at this cafe or something, and I seen one of my friends or like some guy who I, like an acquaintance, some guy who I don't know that well. He came over to me and he was like, oh, how are you? Like, how are you today, Tom? Like, how's it going? And I just like looked outside at like a bus and I said, oh, like I just got hit by that bus, I feel terrible. I don't even know why the hell I said that. Like, it was just some dumb thing that came into my mind, but I said it because I found it funny. Like I said this with like a smile on my face. And this guy was like, oh, yeah. It's not weird or forced to just say like dumb shit on your mind or just to like think out loud sometimes. Because what I think this does is when you're having fun, when you're not thinking too hard about what to say, not only does it put you in like a more relaxed state of mind, like when you laugh, that's sending like certain hormones or impulses to your brain, like, okay, we're safe, we can ease up, we can loosen up. But I also feel like other people, when you're trying to make yourself laugh, like when I try this, that makes other people laugh for some reason. That makes other people have a good time. And I think it's because when you're not taking yourself too seriously, when you're just unapologetically, authentically being yourself, you're putting out a certain type of energy into the world. And you know, I've always said that the people who don't like that, if I'm not trying to be anyone but myself, and you don't like that, I don't need you in my life. But if I'm unapologetically me, they'll figure out what kind of person I am very quickly, and they don't have to waste their energy on me. But the people who do really like that, who want to have a fun time, who just want to make jokes, who don't want to take themselves too seriously, they will know what type of person I am. They know they resonate with my energy, that I just fucking goof around, try and have a good time. Because, I mean, I can be serious when I want to, but I don't want conversation to be life or death, because that's when I start feeling tense. And in these like high social pressure environments like parties, I just walk in there trying to have a good time, not taking myself too seriously, making jokes. Here's another way to look at it. Next time you're feeling a bit nervous or you feel tense, even if you're only able to do it like 1%, because I know it's not easy, try and think, how would I act if I were around my best friends right now? Like, what jokes would I be making? Even what things would I be talking about? Because believe it or not, sometimes because the advice we get is just ask loads of questions and stuff. But I'm not going to ask questions I don't really care about. Like, that's what people do. If I don't want to hear the answer, I'm not going to ask the question. So either I talk about things that I'm really interested in, that I know I can make interesting for other people. Because so you've got to steer the conversation in some direction, one way or another. Like, as long as I'm not like really like going on and on and on, and I do ask the other person questions, then, you know, the conversation has to go in one way. So at least make it something that you're passionate about, that you love talking about, because that will rub off on the other person. Or have it so that the questions you ask are genuinely just good fucking questions, like questions you want to know the answer to, things that you're curious about and you know are going to spark an interesting conversation. Not, oh, what do you do for work? Or, you know, how old are you? Just boring fucking shit like that. Think, what would I say if I were in the company of my best friends? How would I be acting? And try your best to enjoy yourself. Try your best to have more fun. And the rest will naturally follow. Take care, man.